Replicon Radio is brought to you in part by Lex the Hexmaster and the Shadow Army. Yeah, what up, y'all? We are back. We're live. The YouTubes are back up and running. Make sure you guys share it out. If you're listening to the website, then nothing really changed for you. But we're here. Let everybody know we're back. As we do, man, every week we have a special guest, and this time there is no difference. I'm pleased to welcome and welcome you guys to meet our new friend. Hopefully, give it up for the Riot starter.
Riot. What's up? Replicon Radio.
Finally
in tune.
What's going on, brother?
We are doing great, brother. It's good to hear from you, man. How are you?
Let me tell you. Unfortunately, I'm doing really good. I know a lot of people aren't doing so good right now, but the pandemic was hard on me and my people to begin with. But we finally found some light at the end of the tunnel here, and we're going to try and turn some negative energy into some positive action, and we're going to try and get some new music out there and blow off some steam and get ready to go into 2021 with a new look and a new attitude, man. And we appreciate you guys reaching out to us and giving us an opportunity to do that. And I can't thank y'all enough for coming across our music, man, and reaching out to you. Thank you very much for that.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely, man. It's I don't know if you listened to the show at all since we reached out, but we had like a big special last week with a bunch of people, and we actually ended up talking about you to some like big name artists, because I was like 100% honest, man. It's been a long time. Like, I love a lot of people in the industry, especially in like underground music and stuff, but it's been a long time since a new artist, someone I didn't know already, came along, and I was just like, whoa, like this is dope, just right off the rip. And like your single came across because you had a Calico feature on it, to get way ahead of myself. But, and that's how I found it, because like the internet was like, oh, you like Chris Calico, maybe you'll like him on this. And I loved it. And then I listened to the whole thing, and I was like, holy shit. And I immediately reached out, and I was just immediately blown away, man. So I just had to put that out there right away. But yes.
Well, let me tell you, man, that's amazing. That's an amazing compliment. And as they say, you'll never get your first, right? So you guys are gonna always be our first, for the TRS project. And that's awesome, man. There's no doubt that this is something unique in that everybody who's going to be affiliated with this project, fans, supporters, you're going to see this from the birth. I mean, you're literally witnessing this from its conception. It's rare that a single hits the radio for an artist that you've never even been familiarized with. And so we didn't necessarily intend that to be the case. We got lucky with Calico's name being attached to the track, to that single, and it getting play. And we won't complain that it was kind of, maybe put in rotation a little sooner than planned. We're going to take all the publicity we can get. We will have, most of the foundation for the Riot Starter project up around February, early March. Obviously, you can go stream the EP. We did the whole EP with Strange. We were really lucky to get an opportunity to go out there with those guys and really mentor under the best. I mean, who we kidding, and that was an EP that was really meant out to labels in a traditional way, to more major labels. It was a more radio sound, in their words, we'll say. And it was never really meant to be leaked. It was really more of a, here's the Riot starter, here's what he's capable of, what would you like to hear? And our pitch to the label, we're like, well, we want to put it in our fans' hands. We want our fans to kind of, choose your adventure. And they didn't like that at all. They didn't like that concept. They wanted, well, pick one of these songs and make a whole album like this. And, of course, as an artist, you don't like being boxed in like that. That's like the worst thing you could ever tell an artist. So we bumped heads, and then the project kind of went dead in the water. And then, of course, pandemic didn't make it any easier. And labels now aren't really taking anything new right now. And this is going to forever have an effect on the industry. So we were kind of like, well, if we don't put this music out here now, the world will be here. So we decided to just, strap up the boots, reach into our pockets, and put it out there. And we're absolutely blessed with the response that we're getting already. So we can't thank you guys enough.
No, absolutely, man. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy to see, like, just looking at like on Spotify, man. Like when I when I listened to the record, that's where I listened to it at. You had 150 monthly listeners. Now the record's out. You have 17,000 monthly listeners. That was 2 weeks ago. So it's definitely like,
I know,
it's shooting up, and it's organically like it's people like me and other people that found it and listened to it and shared it, and you know what I mean. So it's growing because it's good, and that's got to be awesome for you, and it's dope to see.
It does, man, and that's when it's most important. You know, it's most important to us that it does do, as you say, organically. You know, we don't have a lot of money. I mean, the labels are hurting right now, and the industry's going to be forever altered. And so, you know, these songs. What's really funny about this EP is each song has a kind of a unique history. So you got Way Back Home on there, which is more of a country type vibe, real radio. It was actually written. Me and Chris actually wrote this for a friend of ours that was filming a movie. It was a true story documentary. I don't want to go into too much detail, but the name of the movie is 59 Middle Lane, and you can stream that movie on Netflix and other sources. And so the song was written just for a very small part of the movie, and we actually didn't even put it on the soundtrack for the movie. We wanted it to be that exclusive. And there's a really long reason about why, because there's a lot of, I say, special interest involved between the directors and then, of course, me and Chris as the composers. But we wanted to have something special and exclusive to that movie. But people were asking about that little clip. There's a little clip in that song. What song is that playing? And, oh, that's, you know, the Riot Star and Chris Calico. We never really finished the song. We're asking about it so much, so pandemic gave us time to go back and revisit it, finish it, and kind of give it a new life, an updated version, and remaster it. And so we're proud to be able to say that, you know, for the first time ever, that song that was featured in that movie is now going to be available to anybody who would like to hear it in its duration for download here now. So you can go download the EP and hear that track for anybody who is familiar with that track or might be familiar with the movie or maybe in the future.
Hell yeah. So backing up a little bit, man, because obviously all this shit's super fresh and that's cool as hell that you guys did all that together. But I mean, if we don't know you, a lot of people probably don't know you, but we want to get to know you, and that's one of the things we like to do here at Replicons. We want to get to know people. Like, how did we get here? So you're originally from Orlando, Florida. How did it all kind of get started for you in the music industry? Were you a songwriter prior to this? Like, or like what kind of led you to making this album to begin with?
You know, it's crazy. I grew up in Orlando, and my mother worked on Disney World for 40 years or so. I think it's the only job she ever had. So one would think that, you know, if I had aspirations or, you know, dreams in entertainment, you know, I definitely would have had an in, and I probably would have. But at around, I don't know, 19 or 20, I was visiting South Carolina. My brother had owned a bar in Carolina. I was up there visiting, and there was a band that was supposed to play that night. The singer showed up with laryngitis, and they were taking people out of the crowd. It was the most random thing in the world. But that night, a gentleman handed me a business card that changed my life, and he said, I was looking to start a band, and he said, I think you got what it takes. And the funny thing was, I went home and told my current girlfriend at the time, and she kind of looked at me and laughed and said, well, I didn't know you could sing. I don't really think you could sing that well. And to be honest, as discouraging as that was, it kind of frustrated me. And so I said, well, you know, I better go at least try out, you know. And I went and tried out. And ultimately that band never really did work out. But what it did was it led me to the next band. It led me to the next band, which led me to a band that I was in called A Slave, which was, we were on tour with Rehab for a little while in the Southeast a few years back. And while we were putting a demo together and touring and doing all that, we had put a track together that kind of demonstrated my ability. I wouldn't say, you know, speed rap by any means, but for rock and for metal, it could come across as, you know, some chopper type patterns. But a guy named Russell Beer, who was very close to Tech Nine and was on the Guevara tour at the time, happened to come across that through a friend. You know, they say it's all about who you know. And he wanted to meet me, and so he came down to South Carolina. Actually, he came to Atlanta. He was on tour. He was on the tour bus with Tech and the Strange crew. He invited me down there. He said, and introduced me to Tech and said, Tech, this kid's got a track, where he raps real fast over, heavy metal music. It's really unique. And me and Tuck been talking, and being the gentleman that he was, we just, I guess we just kind of hit it off. And me and Calico started talking on the bus. An invitation opened up, and next thing I knew, we were on our way to Kansas City, and we went out there and had a meet, kind of talked a little bit about my style and where my background was. And those guys were so busy at the time. Like, it was crazy that this could even happen, let alone, it was crazy that I could even have 3 meetings with them, let alone 1, because they were so busy. I mean, how hard these guys work.
And
I kept getting that.
Was this recent? Like when? What time frame?
No, this was about 3 years ago. So
okay.
this was about 3 years ago. It took, before I couldn't even record with them, it was like 6 to 8 months down the road because Tech was so busy. And so this was about 3 years ago. Then we recorded. Then the project kind of floated in the water for a little bit, really for no negativity, just because of timing. Again, these songs were never really meant to be released because we didn't really feel like, a couple of the songs we didn't think we'd ever have an opportunity to perform with Chris. Chris was so busy. So that pandemic coming around kind of made that, possible. So we thought, well, maybe we could release this. Maybe we could potentially do something with them on some downtime before things get back up and going. So that was a big part of the motivator as well.
That's crazy. What was the name of the band again? You cut out a little bit when you...
Oh, yeah, I was in a band called Modern Day Slave. We got some stuff up on YouTube. That was, let me tell you, that right there, I owe a lot to those guys because they kind of took me in at a time when, like, rap and, like, rock over, just maybe at least popular. And they took a big risk on me. And they were looking for a bigger vocal and, more operatic type scale. But, they appreciated my hard work. And so we were able to bust out that demo. And that demo is what got the attention of Tech Nine. And that really changed everything for me. Like, I can't even I'm riding around in a Geo Metro that I'm driving with a, CEO of whatever corporation he was. And he's on tour with Tech. We're riding back streets listening to my CD. And next thing I know, I'm on Tech Nine's tour bus. And the next thing I know, I'm on my way to the city with Travis. And just what a remarkable experience. And we were worried that this music may never see the light of day. Ironically, part of it intentionally. But then at the same time, we were scared that, well, maybe we would lose the opportunity for anybody to hear it, and we didn't want to do that. And so because of that, we decided to go ahead and get behind it on our own, and we got I got 2 more tracks with Chris that we're hoping to drop either at the end of the year, but we just really want to see what people are responding to, what tracks. We're getting a lot of feedback on Drugs All Day. I get messages on Drugs All Day constantly.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. The whole record. Mind you, it's 4 tracks, but they're 4 solid tracks in their own right. Like, they all, and one of the things I definitely noticed, and it's probably the reason I picked up on it so well. That's why I asked what you did prior to this, because it's so professional, it's so well made, it's so polished. People don't. I don't care how talented you are. People don't come out of the gate that it's not that good off the demo tape. You know what I'm saying? But it is.
Well, it really shout out to Rob Rebeck on that. Rob Rebeck is a master over there. We did that at Chapman. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. And let me tell you, they have a magnificent sound over there. I can't take all the credit for that by no means. This crew, man, just what they do over there and the experience that they have from the beginning to the end, man, it was just such a learning experience. The thing about it was, I would say, a lot of artists get this opportunity to go mentor under some of these labels, and you get an opportunity to do these features, and you go in the studio and you get to work with artists. But I think what I would say is unique in my particular situation from this was the pandemic gave me the time to really absorb what I had just done. So many times as artists, we're just going, pushing, next track, next album, next tour, next show. And for me, the pandemic gave me that time to really allow that steak to sit on the plate and soak up all those juices and really, look at what I had just did and go, oh man, I got to share this with the world. I can't just sit on this. And so that's where we're at now.
For sure. So 3 years ago, these conversations you're having with Tech and Chris and Travis, what was there an end goal to this? Were they looking to bring you on Strange as a solo artist? Were they looking to add you to It Goes Up?
I think really it was a development type situation. This was a friend. I can't emphasize this enough to you. It's really about the relationship you build along the way.
For sure.
And I know that more now than I ever knew. And I don't think at any point that was ever. This was really an opportunity for me to go and see, is this what I want to do? I'll never forget Tech looking me right in the face, and telling me hey man, you got to really make sure this is what you want to do. They're on the road 9-10 months out of the year, it's no joke. And I think really, this was just an opportunity that had to present itself from one artist to another that says, hey, you want to see what we do, come see what we do. And I think really that's what it was on a professional level, if ever there could be such a case.
For sure. No, definitely they were. So, and the whole EP was produced by Seven as well, right?
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Because Drugs All Day is a track that stayed with me for years, and I used to typically perform it acoustically, a much slower pace, and it's changed over the years as that story has changed over the years of my life. And so handing Drugs All Day over to Seven, and more importantly, releasing it on this level, was not an easy thing for me. By no means. I would say that is probably the closest song to me for a million reasons. But when I handed him over the guitar and the vocal, and I said, all right, man, I'm going to, you're the professional, and he sent me back what you hear now, obviously, and what it's turned into, and he sent me just the instrumental, and I was just, wow. So it really took a lot of my closest friends and some of my family to really come to me, and you got to release this track. So it was like a little story behind each song on here that really motivated me to put these 4 songs together, to release them, and see, is this something people would want to hear more of?
No, absolutely. And that's probably another reason that the debut sounds so professional is Seven is that's one of the best in the biz, man. So that's huge to have. I don't know what you did for God to bless you so much that you could have so much on your debut, man. But you definitely did something right.
We definitely got lucky, man. We're definitely lucky. We're very proud too. It's like I say it in the song. Forever I'll brag it. Leather straight jacket. You know what I'm saying? We're very proud, and we want people to know that. We're definitely not out trying to. Our sound's different. The underground hip hop, that crew full of choppers over there, and those are just lyricists at the ultimate elite level. And I think that's really what was probably most unique about the experience together, especially me and Chris, because a lot of people don't realize or may not understand how much writes, or his ability to write on such a broad scale. And so this was a good opportunity for him to come in and write some, what I would say, maybe more radio friendly edits, some bigger choruses, and some really we wanted to be more instrument dominant and maybe not so much digitally dominant on this project. And I think we did a phenomenal job of doing exactly that.
No, absolutely. So I guess going back a little bit, so even prior to the band, I guess you were just doing singer-songwriter stuff. So you've been writing and performing music just as a solo artist what, like in Carolina, the Florida, like this local scenes and stuff like that? Is that kind of where you?
I've been doing this for a while. I try not to talk too much, but since you ask, it's like, yeah, I'm like every artist. I've been grinding for a while. I was at it at a young age. It's like I'd take the elevator up, and then something would happen. But in the Carolinas, we were doing really well out here. Kevin Garnett had a studio out here, and he was supporting his local scene out here, and we were doing really well. And the digital, when music turned digital, it kind of changed a lot of the business plans, and there was a lot of independent labels and local labels that kind of went under, that weren't able to adapt, or maybe had too much overhead, and I was caught up in a couple of those. I had a couple of bad management deals, young, in some rock bands that kind of tied me up. But I got lucky with Modern Day Slave, and we met our manager named Alexa Ammon, who's also co-director of the movie 59 Middle Lane, and she really took us under her wing and kind of opened up all the doors for us, which eventually led us to Russell Beard, we were actually, man, it's crazy, we were actually headed out west. We had an invitation to go work with some people, without throwing names around, equivalently big names, but all the way on the West Coast. And we got stopped by Russ. It was Russ who talked us in and said, hey, this camp is on the up and up. These guys are the future. And they were, at that time, Guvera was teaming up with Strange Music and doing the, free downloads where if you watch commercials, artists were still getting paid. I mean, they were really on the cutting edge. And so he really opened up our eyes to what Strange Music was doing and on the level that they were doing it at. And so it was amazing because we could have maybe went out to California and maybe not created the same product, which I got to be honest, I couldn't imagine having a different EP than what I have now.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a good team to work with, and I'm sure you learned a lot, especially now. I guess essentially you were almost forced to do it independently, but if you're going to do it, those are the best people to learn for how to do it from, for sure, at least in that aspect. So that's a good...
No doubt. I agree 100%.
So where did so in this whole, from being in the band to having these conversations, to deciding, or to actually making it to Kansas City, recording with Seven and Chris, where did the conversation were like, all right, I'm gonna make this project, and like, where did the name come from? Is the Riot Starter just you, because you keep referring to it as we? Is this a band project? Like, what is the whole thing?
That's a great question. To be honest, I was actually the subliminal Riot Starter for the longest time. So I musically, I've gone through so many phases. I have I outgrow musical phases within my own mind very quickly. And so I was a subliminal Riot Starter, which was labeled by a friend of mine. And then it just simply became the Riot Starter for a long time. And then when I joined the band, it was more team-oriented, family-oriented. So, we kind of dropped tag names and stuff like that. The Riot Starter kind of concept came up right around, it basically came back around when we started to work on a solo approach, a solo music approach. Because we had the opportunity to go out with Strange. It wasn't so much that I was looking to do a solo project or was looking to venture from Modern Day Slave. It was that the opportunity presented itself, and everybody understood there was no way we could pass that up. So then we just kind of reached into, the old persona, which was the TRS persona, which was already there, kind of had a regional buzz in the Carolina region, North Carolina region, coastal Carolina region. I've toured here excessively for many years on various projects. And so so basically my management calls me up and says, man, we kind of feel like it might be more relevant than it ever was. And I said, oh, really? So, okay. So we started talking and we started listening to the tracks again. And I started to kind of feel maybe that maybe, timing is everything. Timing is so much, everything in this business. And so they kind of convinced me and kind of got me excited. And I said, all right, well, let's go. We're all in. What else are we going to do? I don't think that it would have been smart to just sit on these tracks and not let anybody hear them. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with that. The tracks definitely needed to get out there, and they're great, and they're obviously spreading like wildfire for sure. So is the Riot Starter? Obviously, I'm assuming that you have is there different levels to this? Is there, because this EP has a certain sound, kind of you got the hip hop, and then you also got the country, like you mentioned, like that type of feel. Obviously, you're rapping on there as well, but then you have that other track, that intro track, that's not on the EP. The I don't rap, I riot. That doesn't even sound like the same person.
I know, and that's really what the labels don't like. That's the problem. See, that's what they kept saying. Exactly what you just said. And I don't think it's a problem.
It's just different. It's good though.
I won't label drop them, but they were saying the same thing. And so basically, the labels were like, "Well, we like every song on the EP," and then they heard the promo video. "Oh, we like what you're doing there, but we either want 10 songs of one of these songs." That's what we kept hearing. Like, well, we like each song, but what just almost in a way, what is who is the Riot Starter? What genre is he? In fact, when we had to register, people didn't realize when you register your music, man, you're forced to put your music in a genre.
Yeah.
So we had to release each song as a single, so we could put Way Back Home in a crossover genre. Then we had to release the whole EP and register the whole EP because we had to put that in a rap genre because we had Calico on there. Thank God we did, because that's what got us outside of play. There's you know what I mean? There's so much loopholes and things that you have to go through just to get your music out there. It's crazy. To answer your question, I really don't know. I really each one of those is a piece of me, and it's so hard for me to choose and go. I don't even know if I could make 10 songs that sound the same. You know what I mean?
For sure. So we're talking about the labels and stuff. Was this released just by you guys? Is this independently, or are you guys through the label?
Yes, we did. We released this independently. We financed this independently, which is why it's slowly launching itself. We reached deep into our pockets, and we're really hoping everybody can get behind it, and we're hoping we can release more. We do have some more music. We do have some more Cali tracks. We don't want to flood airways, but we do have some more tracks. We have some different styles we want to put out there, but just want to see what everybody's feeling and see what people want from us.
For sure. So is that so this was originally, you had mentioned, scheduled to be released in February, but it kind of leaked out. But now you guys are doing everything on your own. Is that the plan? Is the plan now to do Riot Starter Records and just put everything out independently? Fuck what everybody else says or thinks. Let's just do it.
That's actually another great question, because that's a whole nother entity that started picking up steam. So once we realized that we were going to go ahead and launch this independently and distribute this independently and finance it ourselves, then we started putting the concept together, the plan together, the logo together. Then the movement started to grow locally, and then the phone started to ring, and then it was like, oh, well, we want to back this, and we want to back this. So this whole movement is starting to pick up a lot of steam. So ideally, in my perfect world, I pick up 3 more artists that are in the same boat I am. I'm starting to wonder how many artists are in the same situation I am. How many other artists got features out there that they can't get out there, or maybe they don't own the rights to, or maybe they need to get, there's so many different angles. And so I'm wondering now how many artists are in my boat, and how many artists could I help do the exact same thing that I'm trying to do, because I feel like hey, the more people we have in our corner, the better we're going to be.
Oh, I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands, of artists out there that are in the same sort of situation, or something like that, or either just don't have the means, even if they never had the, some people have the label issue, some people have the issue of never having a label to have issues with. You know what I mean?
So true, very true.
But there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah, because sometimes having label issues are, one could argue is a good problem to have. I completely understand.
For sure. So, but as of now, that's the plan, is just to move on. Let's see what we can do independently and just put it out there. So I would expect maybe we get to see all sides of the Riot Starter.
Right, and that's really it. That's really, that's what it's all about. Right now, we've got control over it, and I say we, I mean us, and that's the way I would like to keep it. But at the same time, it's such a predicament to put an artist in, because an artist wants to change the world with their music, and that's a global thing, and that takes money, and that takes momentum, and and resources, and so it's hard to want to hold this precious little stone in your hand when you feel in your heart that it could have a tremendous impact on the world. And so it's just such a tough place to put an artist in. But at the end of the day, I want to try to keep the control in our hands as much as possible. I want to have the fans have as much influence on what we're doing. I don't want to make music that my fans aren't going to buy. I don't want to hopefully one day become successful and then just start putting out albums that nobody wants to listen to anymore because I've sold enough albums. I mean, that's not what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And, it comes down to the bigger you get, you're going to be presented with opportunities that are going to tempt you to kind of get away from that control a little bit down the line. You just got to, and it, given where you're at in life, it's going to be tough at some of those opportunities to say no, and then at the same time, you're going to get opportunities that will benefit you in what you need to do. So it's a balancing act. I see that time and time again with growing artists that they get to a certain point that they can't do it on their own, and they need that extra little push from a label or a workforce behind them, and it's hard to find labels that let the artist have that much control. So yeah, it's definitely a delicate balancing act.
It's damn near impossible, man. It's so, these guys that do it, man, they're just so lucky. And you bring up an excellent point, because that's probably another lesson that I learned from this strange camp, being able to see that. And so that may be something that I can offer to other artists as I move forward, Riot Starter Records, or, hopefully with the TRS project takes off, is being able to see that clock, see that thing move, see that machine move around like it did. That's kind of like now how things are supposed to be, because if you don't know, you just don't know, and you can put yourself in a really bad predicament. So I was blessed with being able to see how things are supposed to run, and now I have things to compare it to as I move forward. And that goes to everything you said. That goes to the quality of the EP, of the production. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to compare everything to those guys as I move forward. But that's what it's always about, right? The boxers, you want to train against the guys, the tougher guys, the stronger guys, so when you get into the ring, it's just, you're that much better. You're that much more prepared.
Hell yeah. So how, so these songs on this EP that's out now, the Riot Starter EP, how long ago did you make? You said you kind of sitting on them for a minute. Like, how long ago was
the songs I've had for years. Those songs, except for Way Back Home, we wrote that for the movie. But the songs have stayed with me, and they change in different versions. And I've got, like I said, all my songs are like that. I've probably got 50 or 100 songs that I revisit over the course of 10 or 20 years of my life, writing since a young teen. But, I would say Drugs All Day has been with me for a long time. I've been playing that acoustically, and that's changed. That's changed over the years. Let's see. I know that's kind of changed. That's a song I probably wrote it 5-6 years ago. The verses have changed. That, the thing about each one of those songs, they're me talking to somebody specifically. Even Way Back Home, if you listen closer to the words, me and Chris kind of joke. We say that's the Kansas City to Carolina anthem, because it's from his point of view, and then the verses are from my point of view. But each song is like I'm specifically talking to one person, which I would say is probably unique about my writing, is that I really wrote each one of those songs on there only for one person to hear. And, you know, if somebody else happens to overhear that conversation and like it, well, then I'm just that much happier. But the truth is I only write my songs for one person to hear.
Wow. Well, they definitely, at least these four, I mean, I could see them resonating with everyone. Like, you know, I mean, a lot of people definitely have the drugs all day situation, which is unfortunate. And then, you know, everybody has those times where they just want to get back home, or whether it be a good or bad time. You know, we all know our way back home. So it definitely, even though it may be directed at people, it's definitely the way it's written, definitely resonates with others for sure.
And Crazy Life was funny because Crazy Life was more of a parody that we did. You know, that's 3.5 years old written. And the irony behind it was it's probably more relevant now when we put that one on the EP, because it was really more like a parody of, like, if it was my last day, what would I do? I just go all out, you know what I mean? And so here's the pandemic's upon us and everybody's feeling like the end of days, and we're like, well, you know, this track may fit, you know, this timeline more than ever. So we went ahead and put that on it. That was actually another one that was meant to be shot for a movie. And people don't realize when you write for movies or you compose for movies, you're lucky to get 15 seconds of your composition in there. So, you know, if anything, you know, you might write 10 original pieces for a movie and none of it, and submit them all and none of it to be used, and you'd be lucky 15 seconds of it gets used in a movie. So that's another story behind Crazy Life. But when we listen back to it, like, oh man, this is more relevant now than it was when we wrote it, you know, try to submit it for the movie.
Yeah. Which we actually, when I told the other guys who we were having on the show, when I said the Riot Starter, they're like, oh shit, what a time for fucking that name to come out. Like Jesus Christ, bro. What are you trying to do?
He was like always around, you know, so everybody knows the Riot Star was always around, but it's definitely his time. And the truth is, it's all of our time. We're all the Riot Stars. That's what this is all about, you know. And yeah, it's more of a, I guess, you know, a musical, you know, genre crossover project. But, you know, it's really all about music being the, you know, language that unites us all, and that, you know, without music, man, you know, what would we really have, man? I don't think without music, man, we would ever get along. It's the one thing that brings us all together.
Absolutely. Well, and honestly, obviously I like the music just off the rip, but another reason I wanted to like talk to you, because I was like, some people just see the name Riot Starter, they would not expect to hear what you hear on this EP.
Sure.
Like at all. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
So it's like, but to get to know the person and understand it, and obviously I knew there was some sort of backstory, and you know, definitely want to get to know. But it's cool that another thing I wanted to mention. You mentioned earlier that the old band was on tour with Rehab. Like this, for anyone that's fans of Rehab, because I love Rehab and they're friends of mine. Like this is like perfect for that. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like the Riot Starter and Rehab should definitely hang out together in a musical world and be best friends.
Well, I'm tremendous fans of Rehab. I have followed those guys for many years. We've been lucky to open for them at many drunken shows that I have played. And I have admired those guys for many years. I was actually introduced to their sound and their music through my bandmates. And I have been trying for the last few years to reach out to Danny and those guys, and I would love nothing more to get back on the stage with them, open for them, or hell, even work their merch booths, whatever they'll let me do.
There you go. Well, I'll definitely hit up Jericho and Danny, man. They're I'll at least send them the music if they haven't heard it yet. At least let them get to know you.
Please.
Those guys are
Danny, I'm a
super
huge
good dudes.
fan.
Yeah, Danny's the shit, man. And Jericho and the whole band. They're all good dudes. But for sure, yeah, I could definitely see, like, you know, once touring and shit's back up, I mean, you guys would blend perfectly together, in my opinion. At least this EP.
That's a tremendous
I don't know the other sides of the Riot Starter just yet, but this version of you.
That's the thing is, see, like when I was young, man, shout out to my man Frank Keene, by the way, who was my young manager, and he was working with Kevin Garnett. He was putting me on stages for like Bone Thugs and Harmony and Nelly and Ludacris. So I had a hip hop edge to me early on, and so the Riot Starter project's a little bit crossover in that regard. Is that, like you saw from the promo, by no means do I call myself a chopper or even on any level of a lyricist or even consider myself to be a rapper, but I do like to be able to play to both demographics, and I don't like to be boxed in. So I do work hard to try to cater to both crowds for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's especially nowadays, it's perfect because most people like myself and a lot of people listen to the show. Everybody listens. We all grew up on everything. We listen to everything. Crossover isn't even crossover anymore. It's just what it is.
That's so true. That's so true, man.
But yeah, it's definitely a good thing. Because like, for anyone that hasn't, look up the video. We'll share it out. But the I Don't Rap, I Riot. Like, you're doing the chop rap, but then you got that fucking like metal scream, and then you listen to the EP, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like the country rap, like good time vibes, like some Boondocks Rehab, Jelly Roll type stuff. Like there's all kinds of different vibes going on, but everything I mentioned is like my favorite shit. So it's all different.
I appreciate that.
It all goes together.
It's just amazing, man. I'll tell you, man, it really makes me feel good, man, that, just to think that there's somebody out there that's getting some type of positive emotions from listening to my music. Because right now, we need all the positivity we can get. We could come up with a million reasons. There's a million songs out there that'll give you a million reasons to, do something you shouldn't do. And so I tell you, I commend you for taking the time to listen to my music, man, and reaching out to me and giving myself and anybody who wants to listen to my music an opportunity to do so.
No, absolutely, brother. I appreciate you for making good music and bringing things for me to enjoy. So we talked about it earlier. Like, this was originally scheduled to come out in February, but it leaked. No one can see my parenthesis fingers, but I'm doing parenthesis fingers. It leaked.
I think somebody has to officially be waiting for it to be leaked. But yeah, we'll take it.
I know you're getting ready to gear up the RiotStarter.com. I'm sure with it, things are moving. There's more stuff to come. You mentioned there's some other tracks. Like, can we still expect something from that slot that was originally for? Like, is there going to be a physical release of the record or like merch to follow it or anything?
I won't lie. Like, it's so tough. The way the market's set up now, it's so tough to drop a whole album. That's why everybody's dropping singles. And from an independent perspective, I would like to say we can put a whole album together, and I definitely won't rule it out. But what I've got set is we're sitting on a couple more singles. I've got a couple more, I would say, more hip-hop style tracks. And then I've got some full band stuff I'm about to do. I got some really cool covers that we're going to flip, and we're going to kind of touch that a little bit. And then I'm hoping, like you said, the website will be dropping, and we're hoping some of these tours are going to open up. There's a lot of talk, but it's all talk right now because nobody really knows. So I don't want to say anything, and I've learned in this business to not say anything until, you get the approval. So we're hoping to do some shows. We're hoping to tour a whole bunch, as soon as they let us take the masks off. And until then, I'm just going to keep dropping music. Hopefully February 21st, the website should be up and running. Should give a lot of people a lot more information. It should give people a lot more, places to go where they can follow us. So we're hoping to drop a bunch of music. We're really gearing up and getting ready to hit the road. We want to get the project on the road for sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I just figured with. So is there these other release tracks and like the session you did, or the sessions I guess you did with 7? Is there a lot of music from that, or just the 4 you mentioned earlier?
I got 2 more tracks. We got 2 more tracks we did with Strange that we can drop. And like I said, we're just kind of chilling because I don't want to oversaturate it.
For sure.
But I'll be honest with you. If I had the opportunity to work with any other producer on my new stuff that I've been working on and writing, I would choose 7 first over anybody, hands down. But unfortunately in this business, you have timing, you have a lot of things that work against you. And so, and you also, a lot of people like to work with other artists to kind of break it up. I'm kind of different, you know. When I get something I like, I kind of like what I like, you know, and that's just the way I am. I like to work with the people I like to work with. I'm not against working with new artists by no means, but, you know, if I could pick anybody to produce my let's say my next 5 tracks, first person I would pick would be Michael Seven Summers.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people would say that he's a. But I mean, is that you guys are? I mean, that's still an opportunity for the future. That's not a bridge you burn, right? I know the Riot starter burns bridges, but
yeah, not, right.
Like there's still opportunity in the future to work with Seven and Chris and people over at Strange and stuff, right?
We can hope so, man. I got my fingers crossed. I need these, you know, God forbid people like this stuff, man. I think, you know, that's the goal. That's all I can hope. I feel like if I told Chris, I said, hey, I'll know this was a success. If I find myself writing another song with you, I'll know. You know, if this road leads me back here, and I'll know, I'll consider it a success. But whatever the road, you know, whatever it is, you know, wherever it's going to go, we're going to ride it out, and, you know, we're going to make the best of it. And people are going to see something really unique because you've never seen this before, especially in today's day, in today's market, with today's digital platform, where you got an artist, we got 50 likes on Facebook, but we got, you know, what'd you say, 10,000 plays on
16,000. Almost 17,000.
This is fun. You know, this is fun. People are going to know my music before they know who I am. That's the way it was back in the day.
Hell yeah. No, I enjoyed that too. Like, there's a bit of mystique. Like,
yes.
But even like I mentioned earlier, like I was like, it's definitely a compliment, but it doesn't sound like a compliment. But it's like, this shit's too good. I'm like, who the fuck was this guy before? You know what I mean? Like I knew, like, people just, like, the guy in his mom's basement doesn't just come out with a record that good, like, off the rip. It doesn't happen. That's a compliment, but it's just like, what else? You know what I'm saying? Like, what have you been up to, man? Who were you before you were the Riot starter? But we learned a little bit of that.
There's no doubt I've definitely been working. You know, I've been working hard. And I think a lot of it culminated when I met with Strange. They caught me at a peak time when I was, you know, hitting on all cylinders. They're clearly hitting on all cylinders. And all those elements hit at just the right time to make that product. And that was the biggest reason why we said, well, we've got to put this out. We've got to let people hear it. If we don't do it now, then nobody may never hear it, because we don't know if the record labels are ever going to bounce back, to what extent. And so that's why we did it, because of what you said. We just felt like it just was too good to just sit on the shelf.
For sure. And I can't wait for more people to hear it. And I definitely have a feeling, as long as we get this record in enough people's ears, that road will lead you back there, and probably to many, many, many other places. And this is one of those EPs, even though it's a short EP, it's only 4 tracks. I feel like this is one of those ones that's it's going to be around for a while, for sure. Just like a movie soundtrack, even though a lot of, you know what I'm saying, a lot of it wasn't made for a movie. Old school soundtracks, that shit lasts forever. Nowadays, maybe not, but like back in the day, like, soundtrack was one of the biggest shit you could be on.
No doubt. I know. We thought it was big shit that we heard it. No, you're right, man. I mean, and the thing about the EP was we wanted people to want more. You know, we hoped. We're like, well, we hope people will want more. Rather than throw anything at them, you will hope that they want more. I mean, you keep your fingers crossed that everybody wants more. And we'll have that available for them, you know. And so we're really hoping that people enjoy this, and we're pleased with the response we're getting thus far, for sure.
Hell yeah, man! Well, you definitely got me in there. So you at least one guy. Well, I guess 17,000 others, but
I'll do it for fun. I'll do it for one fan. I mean, you know, I played shows for less than one fan.
Hell yeah, man! That's what's up. So all these, like you mentioned, the doing the band projects and the covers, all this stuff, you know, and the future stuff. Is this all going to be just under the Riot starter from here on out? Is that the idea?
Well, with the label getting a little bit of momentum and getting some attention. I'm hoping maybe that we can do something regionally. I got so many artists in my area, man, that are way better than me. All right, way more talented than me. Way just better musicians, you know, on every level. And I need to put these guys on. I need to get my people. I need to put my city on. You know, it's like the Carolinas, man, you know, we're doing really good out here right now. And, you know, we got Clemson, man, crushing it right now. We got Coastal Carolina undefeated out here right now, you know. And we want to give a chance out here. We got a tremendous music scene. And, you know, hey, we're maybe not the most talked about music scenes, but we got a tremendous music scene. I work in Asheville. I do a lot of shows in Asheville, a lot of touring in Asheville. Asheville's music scene is just unlike anywhere else in the world. And I want to get exposure to the area as well. And so I want to get some of our artists up to the forefront and hopefully get in the office here real soon and help the young guys get out there and get hungry and, you know, and just get our movement going, man. I mean, get that Riot Starter movement going in everybody. Every artist is and one thing I realized, man, with this music, a lot of artists are very unhappy. They have signed a lot of very bad deals. Some of the, you know, best artists in the world out there have signed themselves in some very tough predicaments. And so I would love nothing more than to create an atmosphere where artists, and every single one of my artists, can be proud. You know, they're not out making albums about how much money they're not making. Just, you know, just everybody's proud, everybody's happy, everybody's being able to display their art in an artistic manner that they see fit. And that's my perfect nirvana.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. This motherfucker just dropped his first ever EP leaked, and he's already trying to put other people on. That's positivity right there, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, there's so much talent out there, man. It's just crazy how much. Look, even with the internet, and I'm telling you, the real talent, you gotta go get them. You got, just like I had to be talked into releasing these songs from the people who cared about me the most. Every artist out there needs encouragement, and the great ones may need a little more. They need a little push. They need a little, you know, a little more support than the others. And I want to be there, and I want to do that, and I want to use this and this EP to help get us there. And that's my goal, is to get us, you know, my team where they all want to be. Same place where I'm at.
That's the shit, man. Yeah, it's definitely not for like the real artist out there. It's definitely not easy to just put your soul out there for everyone to critique, and you know what I mean. Like, you always think about all the bad shit, but then you know, people aren't thinking about all the other people that they're reaching and helping and inspiring. And there's so much more positivity to putting it out there. The negative shit's so loud that that's what people always you know, fear. So that's the shit, man.
That's so true, though. That's a true statement.
Let's see. I got one more question for you, at least. If anybody listening live has anything, put it in there now. I have a question.
I want to know what the Riot maker thought about the Riot starter, his name. I'd imagine that when you met Tech and told him your name, he got a kick out of it.
You know, Tech didn't really say too much. I think at the time we were on a real name basis. So I don't think Tech ever crossed Tech's mind about the Riot starter, the Riot maker. I don't think that ever crossed his mind. My copyright name, my songwriting name, Steve Fontaine. So that's, you know, we were on first name basis. We were he was over in the studio recording his stuff. Me and Chris were in the other studio recording his stuff. I got to tell you, he's extremely gracious. I can't even tell you, man, just the experience that he gave me, and how lucky I was to be in his presence and just see how a person with that level of success handles themselves. It sets an example to anybody who thinks or hopes or aspires to be there in that position one day. Straight up.
Yeah, Tech's known for that shit. And that's dope too, man, that you got so much. Like, Calico is becoming maybe not known, but he's definitely doing a lot more stuff with I guess lesser known artists or up and coming people. Like, he it seems like he goes out of his way to find, like, I don't know if obviously he didn't find you, but he goes out of his way to work with a lot of people that you may not know that he thinks is talented. Like, he's got the multiple tracks with you, and I wouldn't put it past him to call you to be on one of his EPs or records, like he did with like CJ Hicks and several other artists that he's brought on to work with. So shout out to Calico for that too.
No doubt, for sure. That kid, he really knows how to develop artists. He truly helped develop me. He showed me he brought some things out of me that I didn't even know I had in me. And I think you just summed him up perfectly. He is undoubtedly a master mentor, for sure.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's you. Like I said earlier, man. You did something right somewhere, and the music gods were like, here is Chris Calico. Here is Michael Seven Summers. Come aboard my cloud. Like, that's mad.
Yeah, no, I got lucky. Sometimes we just get lucky. I mean, there's truth in business that, sometimes you just got to be in the right place at the right time, for sure. And riding the back streets of Atlanta, Georgia in a red Geo Metro with Russell Beers having to put me in the right place with Tech 9, and that's how that went down.
That's the shit, man. That's fucking awesome. So yeah, I got one more question. We asked all of our guests the same shit because that's what we do. We're unoriginal. But essentially, man, you got 3 records that either inspire you as an artist, as a songwriter, just as a person. Maybe the record you put on when you're sad, or the one you go to your car and you cry to, or whatever it may be. Just 3 records you could not live without, no matter what. What 3 records would they be?
It's easy. This is easy. This was the question that every professional producer ever asks every artist, because they want to know, their background. For me, the 3 probably most pivotal albums would be 2 Live Crews, As Nasty As They Want to Be. Okay. Then I would say Garth Brooks, Rope in the Wind. And I would say NWA's Straight Outta Compton.
Wow. Hell yeah. That's some dope ass shit. That's dope. You put all that shit in a blender and you're gonna end up with the motherfucking Riot Starter EP, which is available right now on all streaming platforms, and it's fucking dope. So obviously this is just the beginning. The EP's out now. Website coming soon. Where can everybody keep up with you? So they know what's going on, and they know when the new singles drop, or if there is a physical dropping, or if you got some merch, or when tours are back. Like, you got social media. Where can everybody keep up with you?
Yeah, so we just got everything launched. We really got feedbacks on our Facebook page. Just launched our Twitter. Just launched our Insta. Everything's so new and fresh. Go there. You get on early. You're gonna really get an insight of some of the new stuff. They're gonna do some giveaways, mail outs, all the great stuff. We're gonna launch the website 2/21/21. Make sure you get on the mailing list there. Just keep up to date with the tours. We're gonna update the tours there. There's a lot of things in the works. It talks about House of Blues tours. Just get on us at any platform you can. Whatever you like to use, go find us there. We'll come find you.
Hell yeah. So definitely search it out, man. The Riot Starter. I know this isn't going to be the last we hear from. This is only beginning. So make sure you guys follow them. Get in early, man. This is like the old days. You know what I mean? Like pre-internet. You guys know about shit before everybody else, and we're letting you guys know right now. So get on it now before he's big and popular, and you can't, you know what I mean? You missed it. You missed the train. So go check it out right now. Thank you, man, for taking the time to hang out with us. Officially welcome you to the Replicon Radio family. Don't forget us when you're a giant megastar and you're touring with Halsey and shit. But you're always welcome here, man. Whenever the new stuff comes out and you got things popping off, just hit us up. We're always here for you. You got any last words, any shout outs, anything we didn't get to before we let you go?
Nah, I just want to thank you guys. I can't thank you guys so much. Thanks for anybody who's listening. Thanks for anybody who's going to listen later. Pick it up on YouTube if you didn't have time to hear it. Please go listen to the EP. Give us all the feedback, the good, the bad. We want to make music that you want to hear. The Riot Starter wants to make music that you guys want to hear. That's the uniqueness about this project for sure. So I can't thank you guys enough for reaching out. I look forward to coming back on the show sooner than later for sure.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. We'll talk soon. Everybody listening, we're going to play some of it for you guys to hear right now. If you're on the YouTube stream, we're not going to play it there because they don't like that. But the audio version is available. Head on over to repliconradio.com, or if you're listening to the replay, none of that even matters. And we'll be back to hang out after the break. Much love, brother, and we'll definitely keep in touch with you, man. Thank you again.
Appreciate you, Riot Starter. Out.
Peace. Peace. All right, we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be back after that quick little break.